Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, the topic of our panel is gaming across industries, education, government, and the private sector. And today, um, gaming is no longer a fringe entertainment niche. It covers all aspects in government, in education, private sector. We see gaming everywhere nowadays. I would like to introduce you to our panelists today. So we first can start with Faisal, if you can introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. My name is Faisal Kadham. I'm Director of Foresight at Dubai Future Foundation. I also lead the Dubai Program for Gaming, which is an initiative that was launched by His Highness the Crown Prince of Dubai. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this discussion. I think I'm glad that we have education, private sector, government. So I'm looking forward to a fruitful conversation because I think everything is interlinked, and I think none of us can really make the big impact on our own. So really looking forward to the discussion.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rob Otten. I'm the CEO of a company called Hexagram and then also another company called Rethink Entertainment, which is based here in the UAE. I came to Dubai to work on Expo 2020 about 5 or 6 years ago and ended up sticking around. Before that, I wrote for a bunch of kind of big AAA, Battlefield, Gears of War, these games that your kids might know. And so yeah, it's a real pleasure to be here kind of speaking to what's going on inside the industry.
Hi, I'm Sophie Boutrous, the Executive Director of the Mohammed bin Rashid School for Communication at the American University in Dubai. Happy to be here with the panelists because, as Faisal said, I agree that we really complement each other in this new adventure, a new big project and initiative that Dubai is, leading on. So happy to be here and to answer questions that I can answer.
Okay, thank you for your lovely introductions. So let's start with Faisal. So Faisal, we know that you're also the director of the Dubai Program for Gaming 2033. So what are the key objectives with this program?
Thank you very much. I'll try to keep it brief, but I'll start with the inspiration. The inspiration for the Dubai Program for Gaming was actually beyond gaming. What we had identified, yes, gaming is a huge industry, roughly $200 billion globally, but this part of the world, the MENA region in general, was contributing a bit less than the other parts of the world. So we're like, okay, how can we improve that and contribute more? But then we also realized that if you look at the future of gaming, no one can really predict the future. But one thing that we can bet on is it's very likely the future is going to be digital. And the skill sets that were being used for game development and game design are so versatile that regardless of what that future looks like, whether it's going to be more focused on games the way they are today, but in a bigger way, or there might be digital worlds created and gaming might change completely in terms of platforms, but it's very likely that they're going to be created using the same game engines that are being used today. And so we realized the need for things like having an education in how to develop digital environments in Unreal Engine, in Unity, Godot, etc. And that's where the inspiration came from. The program itself was launched by His Highness November of 2023, and it had a very broad goal of trying to grow the games industry over the long run in line with the D33 agenda. And one of the first things that we did was we got all of the entities that are working on gaming all together in a working group to try and grow this industry together so that there's no overlap, so that we're all aware of what everybody's doing, and so that everything fits into one clear picture of where we're headed as Dubai in the games industry. So that's in a nutshell, but happy to elaborate further as needed.
So thank you for talk about the brief description about the Dubai Program for Gaming. So my follow-up question is that in these 2 years, have you seen progress in the objectives?
Yeah, thank you very much. And it's been something. It's been a challenge. Initially, it was very tough because in most of the cities and countries in this part of the world, data is very hard to come by. So we had to do the groundwork ourselves. So literally trying to understand how big is the industry, making making phone calls and literally checking each company whether are these companies, do they really exist? Are they really classified as gaming as not or not? And so so what we noticed was we have more gaming companies in Dubai than some of the larger neighboring countries around us, and we're just a small emirate, and yet we have more than 350 gaming companies across various categories. And not only that, in the 1 year since the Dubai Program for Gaming had established, the industry grew by 16.6% in a single year. So that was, I mean, those were things that we were a little bit surprised by. So now what we're looking to do is we're looking to provide exposure to all these companies, all these games that are being made here at not only local conferences, we also want to go to some of the major conferences globally and share our stories with the rest of the world. Because what we've heard was that from not only the West but Asia as well, that they're not aware of a games industry in Dubai. So we want to change that. Having now done that work, seen the industry growing, next step is for now to provide exposure.
Thank you so much, Faisal. So now moving on to Rob. So we've known that you have written many stories and helped with design in multiple blockbuster games globally. So what do you think is the main thing behind interactive design thinking? What are the key things to think about when you approach a game?
It's a great question, thank you. And I mean, the answer is really changing, especially in light of all the advances we've had in the last couple of years using AI. And so, I came to games, as I mentioned, as sort of a writer, as a storyteller. And a lot of people, especially if you don't play a lot of games, you might think that traditionally most in games that the player controls the story. And historically, that's not actually true. Usually what a player, they're put into a story, and they might have some decision making within that framework, but all the eventualities and all the endpoints are already known and defined by people like me. So now, as a writer, we're moving into this world where AI really opens up the doors on the number of almost an infinite number of potential endpoints to a player's decision-making process while they're playing a game. So while enriching kind of the entertainment factor of the game, this also is now kind of becoming more and more useful in other industries. So, for example, my game studio, which has been around for almost 15 years, in the last 2 or 3 years, we've done a life coaching bot, essentially agent. We've built an AI that is part of a decision-making committee for a multi-billion-dollar investment bank, and it sits and it sort of acts as if it's a member of the diligence committee for the bank. And so I think what we're seeing really is that the techniques, and sort of what you were alluding to before, the techniques and the tools that were used to create games in the past are now being applied to other industries, and this sort of gamification thinking and game design thinking is sort of really broadening things like training, and again, things like wellness and self-assessment, and all these kind of things that you would have never associated with video games up until really the advent of AI. And the other thing that's happening with this is, one of the most popular games in the world, especially if you measure the number of players that are playing at any one time, which is the concurrent users. So on most weekends, one of the top 3 or 4 games in terms of concurrent users, people playing at one time, is this game called Brookhaven RP, which you've probably never heard of. And it's a game within Roblox, which you probably have heard of. And in this game, it's mostly younger kids. They role play in these kind of banal, you might run a store, and you pretend to be the person who runs the store. You pretend to be a police officer, or whatever it is. And so there are these little impromptu communities of people playing pretend, digitally connected. They may or may not know each other. And this kind of role play mentality, I think, is going to be really essential in taking forward some of these more kind of private sector-led gamification initiatives, where now in a game you have the ability to kind of go into say it's a scenario at work, a training scenario. You can make decisions in a completely open-ended environment without actually having to suffer the potential ramifications for those decisions. So you can explore and you can kind of test and you can learn and you can grow using these environments that are completely powered by, slightly guardrailed AIs. And so I think, for private sector and for industry, it's really, the kids have already kind of figured this out, this sort of role play and the sort of fun that you can have while also learning and being socially enriched. And I think what we're seeing is increasingly private industry is going to start following down that path.
Thank you so much, Rob, for the detailed answer. Now moving on to Sophie. So, being in the Mohammed bin Rashid Media School, and where do you see the program of cinematic arts combined with game? Where do you see that approach?
What we actually did at the Mohammed bin Rashid School for Communication, we partnered with the #1 gaming program in North America at the School of Cinematic Arts at USC. So we went to the experts to create the gaming program in design and development. That's first and foremost the most important component of our program, to really build a program that is very solid and that is at par with international standards that can really serve the Dubai Program for Gaming initiative. So that's from the curriculum, side. It really means a lot to us because it is a very strong point, maybe one of the strongest points that we have in the launch of the program. But in addition to that, you create the curriculum and you create the courses, you detail the syllabi and everything. But what really matters at this point is that you create partnerships. And this is what we were trying to do. We, have a very good close contact with the Dubai Future Foundation, be it at the level of brainstorming, types of collaboration, or maybe receiving some support in terms of contacts and connections from, government with private entities. Our aim definitely is for our students to graduate with a capstone project, which is actually a playable game. So we have a capstone project that goes over 1 year of studies where, developers and designers work together to create a game that can be, viable and can live in the market. And one of our biggest aims is to create a gaming lab, a gaming testing lab in partnership with private sector. For us to be relevant, not to be living on an island as an educational institution, but really be connected to first and foremost the Dubai Program for Gaming 2033. So this is in a nutshell our strategy and the big picture of where we're heading. Definitely comes with that a lot of small details and steps that take us that way.
So my follow-up question is, do you think games will be the future of cinematic arts?
I would hate that to to hijack the whole filmmaking industry because I'm a filmmaker myself, so this is very personal to me. And we also teach filmmaking at the Mohammed bin Rashid School for Communication. So we don't want it to really take over, but definitely because as Rob just said now that gaming is taking a bigger space. It's not only you playing games to get engaged. You're playing a game to educate yourself, to in marketing strategies, in corporate and healthcare and education. It's everywhere now. So the storytelling part for us is very important because I failed to mention that we really have a strong component of storytelling in our gaming program, but at the same time we don't want it to hijack filmmaking as such. But yes, it's going to grow, and our biggest challenge, I think, at this moment in time, when we present it as an educational path, is with the mentality and the culture in the region. People need a lot of time, or maybe a bit of time, to understand that this is a career path. Parents need to understand that this is something their kids can work at for a lifetime, can make a career, can succeed. It's still not taken that in that light, they still think, parents especially think that this is more on a fun side. They don't see it yet as an industry, and I think this is an effort that we should be doing, the three sectors, government and private and education, to work together towards raising this awareness in order for us to create the pool of talent and serve the Dubai market of gaming.
Thank you so much for the answers. So, one sentence from each of you. Where do you think what's one thing that you think is very important in order to advance and progress across all sectors in Dubai?
Within gaming? So I think what we've noticed, and I also want to just make a quick correction early on when I mentioned like those big growth numbers. It was really not credit just to us. It was very little actually led by us. It was actually the entire industry coming together and growing the industry, and that's what we've been doing. We want to amplify everything that's happening, by the educational institutions, by the gaming companies as well, in order for them to succeed. And we want to work closely with government entities. There was a new office formed, the Dubai Film and Games Commission. So there's a lot additional muscle that we have now. So I think one thing that, if there's only one thing that we would capitalize on, it would be on working together as one team.
So for me, I think it's important to recognize that the way that games are being made is changing rapidly. It's changing right now. And now, while there is a substantive gaming presence in Dubai, I think it's also there's an opportunity for us to help structure and support teams that are ground up using these new tools and that will make content cheaper, faster, and arguably better than a conventional team that's already, that's been in the industry for a long time. And education, and is a key part of that. Support from foundations like the DFF is a key part of that. And so together, I think we have really the opportunity to build something that's unique and really only could be made in a place like Dubai.
That's a very big question, but I mean, one of the things is that what Faisal said, working all together for the growth of this, this sector, but also, like for us as an educational institution, I mean, the parallel between having all the technical facilities that really build up to our ambitions in terms of placing ourselves as a leading educational institution in gaming, but also finding purpose and finding the right stories to tell that also connect with the region itself, because we don't want to make stories that are copies of other regions. We want to, encourage our students, as we always do, to create stories in the gaming world that reflect, on our culture, on what we stand for. So this is something we would like to capitalize on.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Faisal, Rob, and Sophie. And I'd like to thank the audience and finally say that gaming is no longer entertainment niche. It's seen everywhere, as you can see, in the government, in the education and private sector. It's very, very important. And it is the future of the world and in Dubai. So thank you so much for coming, and I hope you enjoy the panel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.